Hey there, Jason with AMI Detail. Yeah, this is a bit excessive, but hey, I had the 4, I had the dual 1800s I've been running for over a year, been loving that, actually went back to that. At one point I thought I had upgraded to the high flow automotive, but really didn't have the pressure for foaming, so I went back to the 1800s. Yeah, I did give up some GPM. Went back to like the 2.4, but that's been awesome for what I've really enjoyed that. So at one point I did run one of the 1.8s, the automotive high flow with the 1.2 gallon, the 1800, and those combined worked really well together. So again, that's something, an option if you were looking to do duals and you had one of each, that's perfectly fine. Just for foaming, you basically just dropped the single high flow, and that works good for foaming. But so basically this is going to be a dual setup, because I'm going to have the 2 duals and then combining those. You really can cut, there's 4 Ryobis, but there's 2 of one and 2 of another. That's why I call it a dual. But anyways, with the 4 Ryobis, I've got a pair of them going to a Y, and then the other pair going to another Y, and then both of those Ys coming together with one more Y. So again, Y. There's 3 Ys here, so hey. Anyways, I'm sure I'll get it in the comments, but that's fine. It's just for fun. This is just simply because I have the 4, and I'm curious. I want to see what it does. So basically, I haven't fired these up yet, so this will be the first time. So wish me luck. I think first step, better give it some water. I had to swap to the 3/8 line because definitely for a quarter, you end up around that 2.7, 2.8 gallons a minute, and that's it. So run some air out of the line, because for sure there's plenty of that. Okay, doesn't sound too bad. And I checked my gallons per minute of the water. I was around 7 gallons a minute for feeding these, so I should have plenty. So here we go. First thing, I'm gonna ditch that nozzle for sure, because that's when I just run a single 1.2. So I don't think a 3.0 nozzle is going to cut it. So let's jump right up. I got a 9.5. So again, 40 degree, 9.5 tip. So let's just give it a shot. Okay, this is kind of like one of those Dukes of Hazzard moments. The accident's just about to happen, and what do you know? Pause. Okay, so anyways, back to the important stuff. So I just wanted to go over how I came up with what nozzles to use, because I know that's a big question people have. So you can see on the chart here when I ran one of each of them, the 1800 and the automotive high flow, and that was with a 1/4 inch hose, because again I was under that max GPM for a 1/4 inch hose. And so that one, with a 5.0 nozzle, I was around 1,000 PSI, and GPM was 2.5. So I simply go with this chart, and there's a nozzle size selection chart, which overall seems to be pretty good, because so basically, we're going to double everything. So I would look at going with a 10.0 nozzle, and if you follow that over,
you'll see at around 1,000 PSI, it should be around 5 gallons per minute. So anyways, that's how I came up with that. Okay, they didn't have a 10.5 or 10.0, so I went with the 9.5, and so you'll see the results of that later. And again, then also I was looking at, you know, just in case I was worried about that 1,000 PSI might overamp the envelope high flow, so I went with another one that was available, which was the 12.0. So again, on that chart you can see, you know, estimating a 12.0, you know that it's gonna not be at 1,000 PSI at that point. So you kind of look maybe at that 750, and you know that's estimated to be around 5.2 gallons a minute. So somewhere between that 5.2 to 6 gallons a minute is what I would have thought with a 12.0. So anyways, just to give you a kind of what I use, the tools I use, and some of the data I use. So I take things that I've measured and then compare that with, you know, some of these other charts and stuff, and that's how I come up with what nozzle to try. And it's, you know, again, you can pretty much just go by the math there, that if you're going to double the size of the nozzle with, you know, double the amount of pressure washers, you just basically, you know, it's pretty linear type relationship. So anyways, let's get back to the action. What do you think happens next?
So we're at 900. So when you're rinsing, you're going to do it more than just that little bit at the beginning. So I do let it settle in and see what it gets up to. Hit right around 950 with that. So I'd call it 975. So that's not bad. I was thinking I'd actually would have to go with a bigger nozzle. They didn't have a 10.0 available, but yeah, this 9.5 at 975, that's not bad at all. So we'll measure the GPMs on that. Everything's sounding good. Let's see what the amps are. Holy cow, this is awesome. So basically, see, I'm running these two lower ones are what I'm measuring for the amperage. This one's running at we're at 11.5, so plenty of headroom there, not pushing that at all. And the high flow is actually at 14. So that's actually much better. And I think a lot of it's going to that 3/8 hose. That really helps amperage a lot on these. So yeah, so running at 14 on the one, 11.5 on the other. So these other two would be basically doing the same thing. It's kind of nice. I'm in an industrial space, so I am actually able to run the two, these two are both off a single 20 amp circuit, definitely pushing the limits of it, but again, for kind of short term, it does work. They each have their own outlet, so that helps. But yeah, that's pretty exciting. Let me swap to the 12.0 nozzle, because I'm thinking for maximum GPM, might end up going with that. But the 12.0 thing with that is that we're already sitting at 975, so that's not, you know, that's pretty good. We'll see how low the PSIs drop with this one. So it worked its way up to 800, but again, that 975 is pretty good. But we'll measure some GPM out of these and see where we're at. What I've found is this gauge does actually reduce. You know, as you're kind of like anything, if you as you measure something, it changes the system. So that gauge actually reduces GPM. So let's see how this goes. Get water back on. Nice part is you don't lose too much just taking that off. Okay. And well, I made it to 15 seconds, or 15 seconds left before. Yeah, okay. Phone's getting wet now. That's not going to work. So that was 45 seconds. Let's see what that has. I think we'll pick this up later. I got a mess. Okay, we will just go 30 seconds and call it good. I'll attempt it with my left hand here, see if that helps. Oh gosh. Ready and go. Nope. That's what I thought. Just not. Okay, let's start here. That's what I go through. It's not usually this much, but this is a little more flow than normal. Ready? Okay. Yeah. Fun stuff. Got 96, 98, 100, 102, 104, 106. So 106 ounces that time after taking off the, so if we go 106, 128 is 0.83 plus our 2 gallons. So looking at 2.82 or 2.83 gallons for 30 seconds. So take that times 2. So yeah, with the 12.0 nozzle at, I have to double check, but I think it was at 900 or 800, sorry, 800 PSI, we're sitting at 5.66 gallons per minute. That's a lot of dang water. And if you can't tell, yeah, it's maybe some testing mishaps, but hey, all in good fun. Kind of refreshing in the morning, you know? Okay, so with that information, let's do one more test. We're going to swap back to the 9.5 nozzle so we can get GPM off that, because I'm sure everyone would like to know. Well, not everyone. When I say everyone, I mean like anyone that's interested in this. Again, it does not mean everyone. Just, you know, if you enjoy data, you enjoy just pressure washer, fun stuff, just playing around, that's the name of the game that I'm playing right now. Okay, so here we go again. And I'm going to stick with that 30 seconds just because that is a good, for this bucket size and everything. Who knows? If I had a Yeti bucket, 6-gallon bucket or something like that, you might be able to just do it, but okay, let's see here. Some reason I got a lot of water everywhere. I'm not sure how this is happening, huh? Okay, and okay, ready? And go. Yeah, it's getting worse, man. This is not what I was. Okay, so you know some channels. Sorry, no, stop it. You know, some channels have bloopers. Sometimes my whole video is a blooper. So, one big blooper reel. Let's get the water off my phone. Yeah, this is what I get. So the other day I was giving someone a hard time in the comments saying, yeah, you better, get your phone, you're just gonna get all wet, you need to like put it in a bag of rice. Yeah, I think I'm gonna be at that point, so. Okay, let's get this measured. that's at 62. So if we do, let's see if this works with a wet screen. 62 divided by 128 gives you 4.84 plus our 2 gallons. So yeah, 4.97. So 4.97 gallons per minute, and that's at that 975 PSI. And see, that's a 9.5 nozzle. So yeah, that's just below that 5 gallons a minute with that kind of pressure. So pretty sweet. Kind of right in the ballpark of what I was thinking. So let's, I'm going to clean up a bit here. So for now, I'm going to stop with that, and we'll actually put this to use possibly tomorrow. So, hey, hope you're enjoying it so far. I would like to stay a little drier if you know, kind of prefer that, but I got a mess to clean up with water. Yeah, this is going to be a lot of water, so have fun.